All right, here we go. Episode number 4, Dathlete Daily. And in this episode, this is going to be a very, very important episode, especially if you're a dad. You're walking around 20 to 30 pounds overweight. You got this dad bod going on. And if you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing this guy that you don't want to be, you're going to want to pay attention, because what I talk about in this episode can be the make and break for you. It could be the very thing that you need to do to start making the change, the transformation that you want. And oftentimes this is well overlooked. A lot of guys are out there, they're looking for, the diet advice, they're looking for the training advice, when really where they need to begin is they need to begin with owning up to the man in the mirror. Or in other words, they need to simply just stop telling lies. And a big issue that a lot of men out there have, especially dads who I typically work with, they're living life behind a mask. They're living life telling lies. They're telling lies to themselves. They're telling lies to their wives, to their kids, to the people around them, and they're acting like everything is okay. They're acting like everything is okay as far as being a dad, as far as being a husband, as far as being a producer, as far as being an athlete. These 4 roles that we all as men take on, we might not be telling the truth in regards to how well we're living these roles. And so for a lot of the men that I work with, they're killing it. When it comes to being a producer, they're killing it in business. They're killing it as, a professional. And while that's all fine and dandy, they're losing it. They're dropping the ball when it comes to being a husband. They're dropping the ball when it comes to being a dad. They're dropping the ball when it comes to being an athlete. And a lot of times it's how they're dropping the ball and being an athlete, which is affecting everything else in their life. And so they're walking around 20 to 30 pounds overweight. They got this dad bod going on. They're tired. They're constantly run down. And in turn, that's bleeding into other areas of their life, creating some big effects that they don't want. And the biggest problem is they walk around acting like nothing is happening. They walk around acting like everything is okay, knowing that they just continue to sweep things under the rug, telling themselves lies like, oh, I got this under control. I'll start next week. I'll start when I'm motivated. I'll start when I find the perfect program. It's not the right time. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'm unmotivated. COVID, quarantine, gyms shut down. All lies. All a bunch of BS. My wife says it's not the right time to start yet. My wife says I can't start yet. Those types of BS lies, right? And so as men go through life telling themselves these lies and acting like everything is okay, the big question that needs to be answered here is like, how much longer do you want to tolerate the bullshit? How much longer do you want to tolerate walking around acting like everything is okay, when inside things are not okay? When you look at the man in the mirror, shit is not okay. And so it's not like you're going around lying, cheating, and stealing, that type of lie, but you continue to tell these bullshit lies, these stories to yourself about how everything's fine, you got everything under control. And so you got to answer that question for yourself. Like, how much longer are you going to tolerate that shit? How much longer are you going to wait? Are you going to wait for divorce papers? Are you going to wait for a doctor to tell you that you have diabetes, that you got to take this medication? Or worse, you have a heart attack because you've let yourself go for so long and you continue to cover that shit up? Instead of attacking the problem head on, you sedate, you drink, you freaking take your mind off of whatever it is you need to do with something else that's going to take you further away from who it is you truly want to become. And so for me, years back, I was telling lies. I was telling lies to myself and how I was being a great dad, how I was being a great husband. Hell, I was being a great producer. I was being a great athlete. But it was that one night when my wife finally let me in on the news and how she felt like she was second best, that my heart got ripped out of my chest. That was the day when I said, you know what? I got to stop with the fucking lies. I got to own up to the man in the mirror, and I got to change. Because up to that point, I continued to tell myself lies and how I was being a great dad. I continued to tell myself lies and how I was being an awesome husband. I was doing all the things necessary to produce and build the lifestyle that I wanted for myself and my family. where I know I wasn't being as present as I could be as a dad. I know I wasn't being as present as I could be as a husband. And luckily, my wife, hit me up with that. We had a conversation that things finally changed. I put my foot down. I said, you know what? Things do need to change now. I'm done with the fucking lies. I'm done with the fucking bullshit. I'm done with sweeping shit under the rug. And that's literally the day the Forged Father Project became something. That's when I started to put things together and said I needed to get my shit together myself. And it all started with owning up to the truth. It all started with looking that man in the eyes that you see staring back at you in the mirror and saying, you know what? We need to fix things. And for the men out there that continue to, live a life covered up with lies, what I suggest you do before anything else is you just own up to that man in the mirror. Look at the 4 different roles. Do a little bit of an audit, if you will, and truly audit yourself and look at, how are you being as a dad? How are you being as a husband? How are you being as a producer? How are you being as an athlete? Where are you dropping the ball at? What do you need to fix? What do you need to stop bullshitting around with and finally make a change? What area? Is it all of them? Is it one of them? Is it a couple of them? It's going to be different for everybody, but I'll tell you this right now, and all of the men that are inside the Forged Father Project can agree with you full on, is when you own up to that man in the mirror, you stop telling lies, you own up to the truth, which is going to be one of the hardest things you could possibly ever do, is admit to all of the flaws, all of the mistakes, all of the bullshit that you've been putting up with. Will you finally be free? Because here's the truth. It's like when you own up to that man in the mirror, it's like you gotta break that man down to the core. You gotta get real and raw, and you gotta strip away the bullshit. And when you do that, it's hard, it's difficult, because a lot of men think that's weak. A lot of men think that isn't a sign of being very, very strong, but I'll tell you, it's a sign of being the strongest. Because when you do that, guess what? Now you can rebuild. You can rebuild with the truth. Because if you try to build on a bed of lies, the truth will be exposed at some point. And so, if you're there, if you're listening to this, and you're like, you know what, I've been lying for quite some time now. Been acting like things are cool, been telling myself, I got control of this, I'll start when I'm ready. Stop with the lies, man. Look at yourself in the mirror, take some time, do an audit. Inside the Forged Father, there's a series of processes that we go through. There's a bunch of questions that I have my guys ask themselves to expose this truth, to get to the truth, so they can start living the truth. Because here is the most important thing to understand about this all is you are the one that needs to do the work. You are the one that needs to make the changes. So it's the same man that you're going to be looking at in the mirror that has made mistakes, that has fucked up, that will continue to fuck up and make mistakes, that is going to have to build himself back up. That's where you need to start, is you need to start by owning up to the man in the mirror. And until you do that, you're going to be walking around with heavy, heavy, heavy weight on your shoulders. You'll be inauthentic. People will know it. It'll be exposed at some point in time. And you don't want to wait so long. You don't want to keep putting this off for so long until something bad happens. Because think about where it might lead you. But think about the actual possibility of where this can lead you and where it will lead you. When you cut out the lies, you build on the truth, that's when you'll set yourself free. Get rid of all the bullshit up here. Because you have nothing to hide at that point. You're just you. And you build from there. So if you are finding yourself struggling, that's where I suggest you start. Own up to the man in the mirror. Expose those freaking bullshit lies. Attack them. Make the changes that you need to make. Stop coming up with bullshit excuses. And just do what you got to do. Until tomorrow, I suggest you do that. Do the work. And if you feel like you need help with this stuff, reach out. I'm here for you. Drop the comment. Tag Dathlete. Share this with anybody that you feel will get value from it. Another dad, perhaps, that might be walking around lying to himself. The changes can be made, but it starts with the truth. Until tomorrow, earn it.